Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Take Two podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Halls of the Dead. Halls of the Dead is a short film that me and my friend Blue made last summer when we were stuck in isolation during the pandemic. The premise of the short film is that one of the students has contracted the virus, and all of the other students are at breaking point during the hottest week of the year, and it is a short film showing how these students are coping with one another, but with a fun plot twist at the end: zombies. I know what you're thinking. Wow, where can I watch this short film? Well, you can watch this short film on YouTube. The link will be in the bio in our social medias, as well as just typing in Halls of the Dead on YouTube. So if you want to go watch that first before listening to the episode, it would make the first half of this episode it would make a lot more sense, if you get what I mean. But if not, and you just want to listen to all of us have a bit of a chin wag, then please carry on with the episode. Hello everyone, welcome to the Take Two podcast. Today I'm going to talk about the short film that me and Blue made a few months ago, about 6 months ago now, called Halls of the Dead. Today I'm with Blue, the director.
Hello.
I was also the director, but I did some acting as well. I'm here with Amy-Beth.
Hey.
I'm also here with Lewis Santer.
Yo. How you doing? You alright?
And finally, Alistair Mumford.
Hola.
Awesome. Right, so this episode we're just going to talk about the behind the scenes of Halls of the Dead, how we came to make the short film, what were the hardest bits, the funniest bits, and just have a bit of fun with it. And then second half of the episode, we're going to talk about a fun little themed question, which you'll find out in a bit. So, Blue, I'll start with you first. How did we even come up with this idea for Halls of the Dead?
Well, we had to make a short film, and we we ended up in isolation in our uni flat, and we decided that was the best possible time to make one when we were all trapped inside the same room together. So, we were limited with what we could do since it was in a uni flat. So we just decided to make it whatever that was.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing, because one of the girls that lives in our flat, Amelia, she got COVID, and we were kind of limited, because originally me and Blue weren't going with each other, but then we kind of used COVID as an excuse to join forces and go together to make a short film. And I remember we had 10 days in isolation in student halls, and it was the hottest 10 days of the year, and it was horrendous. I remember sitting in the room pretty much with my fan the whole time, and that was the only bit of air I could get from my room, because my room had no sort of air coming into the room. So I remember writing it, and I remember we had to then get our friend Millie to post through the hard copies of the scripts under our door, or leave them outside the door, so that we could do a little, because we were trying to be as professional as possible with it, and we would, it felt a bit weird being that professional, but we had a little script read, and that's kind of where we came up with it, really. But and then we kind of came up with a quarantine type it was like a dark comedy in the end, really, wasn't it? It was kind of it wasn't the most, I don't know, watching it back, some of the comedy, it was a bit, I do think there's some very funny moments in it, but I do feel there were some bits as well where it was kind of went a bit dark comedy as well. But I think it turned out to be very fun. We didn't really know how to end it, and then I think one day we did kind of just come up with the whole zombie aspect.
I think we wanted to use the isolation part, but we didn't want it to be COVID, so we just went, sure, let's do zombies.
Yeah, because I think everyone's done short films about COVID, and it got to the point where it was just getting a bit repetitive. So we thought, a little spin on it, make it a zombie virus thing. I was going to say, how did you feel initially about Halls of the Dead?
Yeah, no, I thought it was sick. I thought it was cool that we had something to do. 'Cause I think, what day was it? I don't remember when we started filming. We were quite a few days into our isolation.
Well, it was during when the World Cup was, no, not the World Cup, sorry, the Euros were on, and I remember that one of the days I think we had the script read after one of the England matches, and then the final scene, which we'll get onto in a bit, we did that during the England's it was one of the England games, and I remember I felt really bad because at the same time I think Blue was getting kind of annoyed with me. I really wanted to watch the England game, and we had to do the massive zombie choreographed fight scene, and I remember it was also really hot and sweaty, but I remember Alistair, you had your iPad in the corner, and like we kept going over to it during takes, but like, what's the score? Oh, okay, yeah, still no, all right, we're not missing anything. Yeah.
Because we had to finish the scene and everyone was just wanting to cut it, like to stop to watch the freaking game. No, but it was good.
Shall we talk about the heat? I mean, the heat. So we filmed quite a lot of the scenes in our kitchen, as that was like our communal area. I don't know how you guys felt about the heat. I do remember it kind of added to some of the scenes.
Yeah, the kitchen was basically our sauna. It was that hot.
No, the heat was so bad that week as well. Like, I think my favorite moment I remember so well was walking into the kitchen, and because it was so hot, like we were all just roasting constantly. And I remember like coming into the kitchen and seeing you, Jake, sat there with like a little hand fan, like just sat there, just like, I hate life. This is the worst week of my life. Like, I just don't want to die. Like all of this. And I remember we ended up using it in the actual film, because it was just one of those moments where it's like you can't script this, like this is just hilarious, and it's just Jake just being like and it was just, oh my god, it was brilliant.
I remember Mikkel had a little small spray bottle as well. Do you remember that?
Oh my god,
going around going here you go.
I do remember that. Yeah.
That spray bottle
so
saved
helpful.
That spray bottle saved lives that week.
Yeah, I remember one of the hardest scenes that I found was it was definitely at the end, like at the end of the fight scene, when it was just me and Lewis left alive. Because obviously, Amy, props to you about doing the makeup. We'll talk about that in a second. But I just remember because we had to like choreograph like how, I mean, obviously 3 are combat students as well. So you kind of know about like choreographing it. And I remember like trying to like crawl around people. We had to keep getting different takes. And obviously in Blue, I remember you had to like just slowly like hop back on your leg with like the camera. And I think I
did like unintentional yoga that whole like fucking
I still had the worst injury I've ever had in combat from that day. Do you remember when I put my knee out? I was in pain. Do you remember that? Do you remember, Ali? I was moaning about it for ages. That's pretty, like, I've been like, obviously I've had like injuries and stuff in the studio, but I think that's still, I remember when it was the bit when I'm pushing against the pillar and it wasn't the actual clip we used. I think it was like the clip before and something went wrong with it. But I remember doing that, and I just kind of, and then I think I then stabbed Amy in the chest, and I have your own like hair piece, or whatever. And I did that, and then I pulled it out, and I remember my knee jolted. I remember I was in pain for the rest of the isolation. Still the worst injury, which is like it was the most simple move ever, but my knee just popped out somehow.
So, yeah. I didn't know that. Oh,
yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah. What you do for the craft, eh? What you do for the craft.
What I did for the arts, mate.
What you do for the arts. Art is pain. It is pain. I mean, especially as well, like I remember some of the scenes, it was very much like we kind of just had to like, we were very improvising it just because we had like very limited set. I remember like we were pushing the table around, and then like the continuity of it as well for me and Blue to make sure it all fit nicely. Oh, it was so painful having to like make sure that like when Kyle especially like would land, that he would then stay in that same position like the whole time, and it was like trying to match it up was
there were scripts painful everywhere. It was a nightmare because like every shot we had to make sure there wasn't a script inside, because we had like 20 copies for some reason. They were everywhere.
I remember walking down the hallway just like in between takes. It was like just before I was coming back as a zombie, and I remember like coming into the hallway and like walking through, and there would just be like pieces of paper in the hallway, and I'm like, what is this? And it was just random parts of the script.
Yeah, we had
like one script. It was just like random parts, and there was like chairs right at the end of the corridor that we'd all like moved from the kitchen to sit outside, covered. There was a script on every single chair. It was great.
I actually think it was my script as well. It was either mine or it was Mikkel's or something. Just in a pile of chairs, a script. Lovely stuff.
I mean, yeah, I think we did get a bit too many copies for the script. But you know what? You can never have too many scripts. But it was definitely, yeah, I mean, because we didn't have we did have rooms, but we didn't really think, oh, let's just all store all the scripts, because some of us were kind of like kept going back to the scripts. I know me and Blue kept going back to our scripts as well to make sure that we're covering every single bit.
Oh my God.
And it was
I have 3 different scripts with different annotations. It's very confusing.
Yeah, no, it was painful, but we got through it. We got through it in the end. So guys, I want to ask you, what was your, because it was a comedy still, even though it does go into the zombie and like the kind of dark comedy genre. What was like the funniest scene to film? Because I know my one.
I know mine straight away.
All right, go on, Amy. What was your favorite? What was your funniest scene to film?
It had to be the one where we were suiting up Alistair.
Yeah,
I agree.
That was so much fun. It was just the random stuff that we found in the house as well. It was just like a cardboard box that we cut a hole in and then cling filmed, and then we did like cling film around your arms and then bin bags on your legs that we taped, and that was just so much fun.
Bubble wrap as well.
Bubble wrap, that was
so
it.
Good.
That was it, and it was the funniest thing. Because it was like the most extra and just so dramatic for what it was. It was so much fun. It was so funny. I think about it all the time.
I think my scene was definitely the scene itself isn't supposed to be that much. I think it's supposed to be quite a funny scene. But Jake, I think you know what I'm going to say. Do you know the?
Yeah, I know that was my.
Oh my God, the amount of takes we did for that. How many takes was that in the end?
I think me and Blue watched 16 different takes for that one little.
Yeah. It was that, what was it? It was like, if you touch my milk. It was like, if you touch my milk again, I'll milk you. But it was the pure, like, I had to get so close to your face, you wanted me to grab your chin. And there's the line you had before when you were like, oh, when I get sweaty, I just tend to milk and stuff like that. And it was like the line you had before and everything. And I remember we did, it was so many takes. And then you get into that habit, that pattern, you can't get past that line. It's like impossible.
I know. That was definitely one of the hardest scenes I've ever had to like film, just because of you were like right here into my face. And we had that, like, I think Amy, I don't know if you were the one that did it. Was it the little milk mustache I had as well that I had? And I remember I had this little white thing, and that was definitely one of my funniest scenes. But going back
through that scene is so difficult, honestly.
I think we had to ask people to leave the room because I just know that they were going to laugh as well. I think like one by one, like Nora and like Nora, Mikkel, they had to like leave the room because we were like, guys, I think we just need to get this scene done. But no, going back to the Alistair scene, I do remember that was definitely one of the funniest scenes when it came to editing, because like we wanted to go on like the Iron Man basis of when it's like some cool rock music comes out and like you're strutting about. It was a very good scene. Blue, what was your funniest scene to film? Because you're obviously the cinematographer and you're behind the camera in charge of
I mean, I agree with Amy on the student up scene, but I enjoyed like filming every scene. I remember I basically crawled on every single counter in the kitchen just to get a shot.
I remember walking in on the kitchen of you being like laying behind the hob to get a shot of Nora cooking.
Yeah.
And I remember I can't remember if we were like through a shoot or something. I walked into the kitchen and I just see you there, like laying there, just like this, like paint me like one of your French girls. And I couldn't. It was genius.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun for me.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I think both of those two scenes were probably the funnier, but I do remember linking on with the Nora scene cooking. I remember there was that one shot of you doing of the hallway and everyone's heads just.
I love that shot so much. I love it.
Did everyone come out of our rooms?
Yeah.
Did everyone come out with a cup of tea or whatever? Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that was the thing. Because like obviously, when me and Blue were writing it, we kind of like we wanted to play we kind of wanted to like over exaggerate your characters, and obviously we'd love to Nora. We know that she was a big fan of singing in the morning, so we kind of thought we'll play with that with her character. Obviously, you know, Lewis, your character was like the bad guy of the thing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? When we got the script, it was like you all called you still got the same names. It's basically playing yourselves, but to heighten levels. And then when it was like, yeah, Lewis, you're the villain. You're the cunt of the flat. I was like, what?
To be fair,
What are you trying to say?
I have a memory of you asking to be the bad guy, so we wrote that.
Really?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
That sounds about right. To be fair, really, did
That's
I?
why we did it. Yeah.
But I remember. I still remember getting handed the script though, and Jake being like, "Yeah, you're still called Lewis. You're still called Ali. You're still called Amy." Do you know what I mean? And it was like you're just basically playing heightened versions of yourself. So it's like, and then I was like, "Oh right." But if I asked to be the villain, then yeah, it's fair enough. So yeah, thank you, filmmaker. But I survived. Oh fuck! Spoiler.
Oh. Nah.
Where have you been, mate?
If you haven't gathered by now,
you've been under a rock and my shoulders head yet.
Yeah. If you haven't gathered by now by listening to this podcast, that this is a spoiler warning podcast. Yeah. So go watch it on YouTube. Yeah, right. Shall we move on? Because obviously it's a zombie themed week and it's a zombie themed short film. I'm going to ask you all, and feel free to debate, the best zombie apocalypse horror type movie of all time. Blue, I'm going to start with you first.
So I know that the obvious answer would be Shaun of the Dead. However, I'm going to put my foot forward for Zombieland. I think it's just overall fun. It's great. No complaints.
That's a good chat. I've never actually. I'll say it here. I've never watched Zombieland 2, but I have heard it's very good.
You know
I started Zombieland 2.
Is it worth finishing?
I think I was in the bath and about to get out, so I started watching it.
It is. If you like the original Zombieland, it's more of that basically. It is just
actually good. I thought it was actually good. Like I saw it at the cinema and I was surprised because I was like, Zombieland 2. No, you're not gonna be able to recreate Zombieland 1. But it's actually like it's all right. It's all right. It's fun. It's not I don't think it's as good as Zombieland 1.
No, it's not.
Yeah. No, it's definitely fun.
But that's how I explain it. It's up there in the sequels.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Cabin in the Woods? No one's seen Cabin in the Woods.
Is that the Chris Hemsworth one?
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth. It's like a zombie like monster thing, and it's basically it's like it's like the stereotypical high schoolers in America go to a cabin in the woods for the summer, like a summer getaway. But then it's like I really like the whole twist because it's like the backstory is then like it's ran by an organization, and it's like they put bets on what they think that there's certain different types of relics down in the basement, and whatever one they pick up sets off these different types of monsters on the people. And it's always people in the organization that are like trying to, you know, they're putting bets on which monsters they think will kill the teenagers first. But yeah, very good film. I definitely recommend.
Does it count as a zombie film though?
Well, there are zombies in it because that's the one that they pick up. It's they pick up zombies.
Okay,
the main enemies are
a zombie film? Because I personally feel like for it to be a zombie film, there has to be some sort of world apocalypse. It can't just be like there's a few people. There's like a handful of people who have, you know, got a disease or have come back from the dead. Like it's a global thing for it to be a zombie film. Personally, I'm going to throw this one out there. Maze Runner, the Maze Runner series.
Controversial opinion.
It is controversial, don't get me wrong. But looking at it, I'm going to retract my statement a little bit. I'm going to retract my statement a little bit.
Maze Runner.
Yeah, I would...
in the last one? No. Or in the second one?
So... I read the book series as a kid, right? Same. I didn't realize that Maze Runner was a zombie film or a zombie book until the second book.
Yeah, it's
in the second one, Wicked, the organization of spoilers for those of you who haven't watched Maze Runner. Wicked, the organization, is actually an organization trying to find a cure for the zombie apocalypse that's going on. So all of these kids have been thrown into this maze.
Is that the company that throws the kids in?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've only seen the first one.
So it's a zombie film.
All right.
So controversially, maybe it's because it has Dylan O'Brien in. Maybe I'm biased. But it's a great zombie film, right?
You know what? Fair enough.
Thank you.
You sold me on Dylan O'Brien. You're good.
Like I will leave it there. There you go. There's my. Although I have to agree with Blue, I do actually think that Zombieland is by far the best.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead all the way.
Yeah,
I absolutely love Shaun of the Dead. Absolutely.
I agree. I'd say Shaun of the Dead is Shaun of the Dead's my favorite one. Well, that's kind of where we got the inspiration for Halls of the Dead. Actually, was Shaun of the Dead. That was kind of like the crossover we wanted to do, like Shaun of the Dead meets The Office. That's kind of how we made Halls of the Dead. Yeah. So it's gotta be Shaun of the Dead for me. Gotta be Shaun of the Dead.
I don't really know, because if anything, let's be real, The Walking Dead, even though it's not a film, is probably far superior. But does anyone remember World War Z?
I was literally thinking that film. I was thinking that, yeah. That's what I was thinking. That. But then there are zombies, aren't they? But they're different kind of zombies. They can sprint and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was like a video game whore growing up. So obviously I've played like The Last of Us, The Last of Us 2 recently, and I had I want to say the Resident Evil 2 remake, or the first remake, or Resident Evil 1, or Resident Evil 2. Can't remember which one. But the remake of that, oh my god, it's so scary.
Is it?
It's so scary. Far scarier than any fucking zombie
That's
film.
what I mean. Zombie films, I'm like, nah, but zombie games, I know what you mean.
Games, oh my god.
Yeah. I agree with you there, because COD Zombies is one of the best games.
I even played that like 2 in the morning with my mates, like 2 in the morning. Thinking and Black Ops 2 COD Zombies, that used to get me going.
Yeah, the COD Zombies is definitely one of my favourites of all time. Do you
remember Silent Hill at all or not? Is that zombies? I was just it's just in my head.
I think it's just a horror.
Is it? But they had like kind of like nurse zombies and stuff like that, didn't they? I remember that being a kind of a zombie movie, but I remember that growing up. That film used to shake me out. Like that shook me out. That film. But I don't know if it's the zombies.
If we're deviating from films, I also want to give a shout out to. Have you guys seen Community? So there's this one episode. Oh my god, I know the episode. 2. There's one episode in season 2 where they do like a zombie episode, and it's so good. It's a zombie episode that takes place in like a party, and they like lock the party in, and they leave the playlist on, so it's got ABBA music throughout the whole episode. It's so good.
Actually, I think like one of the best zombie episodes of a TV show.
Yes, it is.
Like it takes zombie and comedy. It's great. Honestly, if you haven't seen it, watch it, because it is just cracking.
Is it better than Halls of the Dead though? That's the question.
Well, it's got ABBA. We didn't have ABBA, so.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's one then. It's one. It's raps for. It's got ABBA in
the film. She's singing. What song she's singing in the film?
It was Whitney Houston, wasn't it?
Oh, was it Whitney Houston? Oh, right.
It's Somebody.
We were close. We were close to having ABBA, but no, we went with the good old Whitney Houston. I'm just looking at zombie movies because my mind's gone blank. I'm just.
I've recently started watching All of Us Are Dead.
Yes, I've seen the first episode.
It's Korean.
Oh, the new.
Yeah,
I've heard about it.
It was like on the top 10 in UK on Netflix, and it's okay.
In terms of movies, you got 28 Days Later is one.
Oh, of course.
28 Days Later. You've got
Is that the one with
Legend?
What's the follow up from 28 Days Later?
28 weeks later, yeah.
Isn't it?
And there's like 10 something Lane, isn't there, from that? Where they like go into the bunker, or
that's Cloverfield. Cloverfield.
Cloverfield.
Ignore me then. Entirely wrong genre of film.
But then I feel like zombie films are one of those things now. Though, I feel like they're not as popular. I feel like a decade ago. I remember growing up when I was a kid. When I was a kid, zombies was the thing. You had like Call of Duty bringing out zombies and every single thing. You had like all zombie movies coming out all the time. Walking Dead was like pretty at its biggest. I mean, it started. You know what I mean? And I feel like now it's kind of. I don't know what the big main horror thing is now, but it's just not so much zombies. I think zombies are kind of something passing.
Does anyone remember that really shit zombie program? What was it called?
Yes, it was like Big Brother, but they. Am I thinking of an entirely wrong?
I don't know. Basically, I remember watching the first episode, and there was a zombie baby, and it was absolutely rapid.
No, that's it.
I'm gonna look it up.
They did that in Dawn of the Dead.
There was a TV show that I remember watching, and it was this like, it was basically like Big Brother, but in a zombie apocalypse. So all of these strangers got thrown into this sort of like arena type thing, with like zombies in, and they had to survive up to a month or something. And it was like a thing where these like real people would go into this zombie apocalypse situation, and they had to. It was really weird, but also kind of wonderful. I can't remember what it was called, but 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Found it. Z Nation.
Oh, haven't seen
it.
No.
Awful. Do not recommend. God awful. Just put it out there.
Well, thanks for that great advice there. Do not watch that, guys. Do not watch that. Alistair Mumford approved.
Watch Halls of the Dead instead.
Yeah, watch Halls of the Dead instead. And yeah, right. So I think we'll wrap it there, guys. Thank you, you lovely people, for joining me on this podcast. I hope you guys have had fun. Make sure to follow us on social media, on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, if you're watching the video version of this episode. I'll leave the social medias for everyone that's here as well down below, so make sure to go follow them because they are very talented people. Tune in next week as well. We'll have another banging episode. Right, lots of love, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Woo!